Hello. Welcome to a new series we got going on. So it's going to be like a basics of mixing, and then we'll get into other shit. Because I was talking to my girl Rosie. She had a lot of questions regarding EQ, how to get into it, or just mixing in general. And I was like, you know what? Let me just make like a little video, and then I was like, you know what? Why don't I just post it? So welcome to the first episode of our series. We're gonna learn something today. Is episode 1. What you gonna learn today is EQ. And what our subheadings, our chapters, I guess you call it. We are going to go through the spectrum. Not the kind that I'm on. But each part of the frequency spectrum sounds like and represents. So we're going to do subtractive EQ, additive EQ, how to deal with clashing frequencies, and then I'll give a couple of my favorite free EQs. So let's just fucking jump into it. Basically, just got this little loop going on. Where this is basically what we're going to be working on. So you can hear it sounds alright, but I got nothing going on here. No EQ on anything. First band we're gonna look at is here. It's like 0 to 150 or so. This is your sub frequencies. Basically, I'll bring this up here. Kick. That's going to be the boom of your kick. 75 to 5. Okay, so here's the next band that we're gonna think about. As you can hear here, it's got some body, but it's kind of the boxiness. This is often a problem frequency. If you want a bit more body to something, but you don't want it getting in the way of your kick. Next band we're gonna look at is here. It's like around 1K. What have we got it set here to? 1800. Let me bring that down to 1500. This frequency is often, I like to think of it as the bite. So if you hear what it does on that, it's all that snap from that snare there. Okay, next I've got is like 1K, 1500 to like 650. That's gonna be the real like snap. If you really want something to cut through, boost here. So vocals, they'll have a lot of information around here, or yeah, hear that. That's going to cut through like crazy. And lastly, we've got like 5K and up. So this is going to be all your detail. There's going to be details for things. So, and you may not necessarily want that detail. These are things that you really want to sizzle, or you want to hear it. You want to hear everything that sound has to offer. This is the area you're going to focus on. Frequency. That's the frequency spectrum. No autism. And yeah, so let's move on. Let's jump into subtractive EQ. Subtractive EQ is basically, it's the first kind of EQ I like to do on anything. I like to put it before compression, before literally the first thing on a channel. I'll usually want to do subtractive EQ. And basically that means to me kind of like the cleanup. You're going to be going through looking for like gross frequencies that you don't want to listen to, or getting rid of mud at the low end. It's the cleanup process. So this ultra low end we don't really need. Yeah. how that kind of, it's subtle, but it tightens up that kick a little bit. So what I'm doing here is I'm hunting, I'm sweeping for frequencies I don't like. That ring, I don't like that. So then I'm gonna bring it down a little bit, 3 dB, not tons. And the Q, this is basically how tight it is. So for subtractive EQ, we want that tight. We want a tight little notch. That's kind of gross. This one, it's not a big deal to me. There's more pressing issues up here. See that? Grading. That's after. Subtle, but you're gonna be able to tell the difference when you start doing additive EQ and cranking it up a little bit. You know, bringing it in, tightening up the low end a little bit. While I'm doing this, I'm listening for frequencies I want to add as well. So they sound cool, that 1 to 2K. I'm going to add that back after. You can't hear that much of a difference with and without. But look, we've taken off all this information down the bottom. This is our high-end detail. So we can cut tons off the bottom here. Taking away some power from it, but it's freeing up a little bit of space from everything else. Everything is a little bit fuller. Everything sounds a little bit nicer without, but feel that, just that EQ, the drums are tightened up by moving everything else out of the way. Okay, now we're gonna move on to additive EQ. And I believe in doing the subtractive EQ first because you clean all the gross stuff out. So then with kind of impunity, do whatever the fuck you want. You can crank whatever you want with additive EQ. So basically with additive EQ, what we're doing is we're finding stuff we like and we're highlighting it. Because of this, you're going to want wide cues. You're going to want it to be smooth. It's more suggestions than commanding the frequency spectrum. Okay, so we're just gonna go stock standard here. How I usually EQ is I'll have my central sound. So this is the drums. I'll do it in solo. Maybe sometimes it's the vocal. So it's whatever your central sound is, whatever's holding everything together. I find it's usually the drum. So I'll EQ that. I'll get that sounding gorgeous, and then we'll use the additive EQ on everything else to kind of fit it around our drums. Okay, see, I'm adding quite a bit here, and this is, so as you can see there, I'm putting it up high to find the frequency. There, 3K. That's just, the snare is really knocking there. And then I also want some highs as well. And with, can you hear the difference? Out. You can really hear it in that snare. Alright, let's do some additive EQ to the bass here. I want to boost a bit lower. See, on the last one, you can see I boosted 60 hertz. Now I want to boost either higher or lower on anything else because I want to stay out of the way of that kick. Now remember, I was sweeping around before. I like that 1K sort of. Yeah, yeah, 1.6 without. Sitting way nicer in there. That's sitting real nice in that pocket there. I want a little bit more body from this, so I'm gonna bring up here at 220, and then here I'm gonna cut at 160, so it's just hitting that little bit of body. I want some bite from this, so around that 1K. Okay, here we're gonna address clashing frequencies. So I've got my subtractive and additive to everything. So let me just have a little listen and see if anything's clashing. Okay, what I'm hearing is the bass is still kind of getting in the way. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna open another EQ after that. And so basically I like to do, after I've added in, I like to do a final or another round of basically subtractive and additive EQ on here, just to like, this is just to really dial in and to get it out of the way of other sounds. I have so much room, so much information to work with, so you gotta carve out as much as you can. What I'm doing here is basically I'm listening to the kick, not the bass, and I'm listening for where it gets buried. Doing with EQ and mixing, it's basically we're trying to carve this marble statue. So we've got all our little chisels and stuff, and we're making these tiny little cuts and sanding stuff off and blah blah blah. Your first instinct should be not drastic. Do not do drastic changes as your first instinct. Of course, this all goes without saying, or maybe it goes with saying, but the only thing that matters is what is coming out into your ears. So whatever techniques we got going on here, tips or whatever, this is just the way I do it. And at the end of the day, what's coming out of the speakers into your fucking ears is the only thing that matters. I like this. I like 200, a little bit of 200. That's kind of a gross thing that was brought up too. But that's taking out too much detail. So I'm going to add this. I'm going to add this back in. And I'm going to add a little bit of low end. So let's do a quick A and B. Okay, so here we are. Here we are. I'm going to go. This is without. Here. Listen with just a little bit of EQ. Nothing else. Those drums are popping. You can absolutely hear the detail in that bass. And we haven't even got the compression or anything like that. I'm gonna give a couple of my favorite free EQs out there. So some of them you got to sign up for some shit, blah blah blah. Not sponsored, but I love these. I use this shit. I use these all the time. First one is this, the Tokyo Dawn Labs Slick EQ Fire, and it's got all these great different saturation modes. This one is the Rare SE, I believe, Analog Obsession. and it's a Pultec emulation. And it's basically 2 bands that boost and attenuate for low and high. And this is the shit. This is so good. So basically, it has this real interesting squeeze effect if you boost and attenuate at the same time. I recommend this is I guess third party recommendation, the M equalizer for subtractive EQ. They got a bit more control than just your stock standard Logic. You can change your bands for all of them, change the band type, you can blah 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 blah. This is great. This goes on every single mix bus that I have. The Frank by Analog Obsession as well. And there's this neat trick you can do with so basically you reduce the 50 hertz, and it has a little bump. It puts a little bump in at 50 hertz when you do that. So it kind of cleans, it's got this cool effect of cleaning up the low end, but bumping where you want it. The final tips and tricks. So I like to do, like I was saying at the start, subtractive EQ solo. So just listening to each track individually and getting rid of gross stuff. And then additive in situ, and that means with everything else. Another little tip I like to do, the last one again is these plugins that have both boost and attenuate, and using them both together, real nice effect. It has kind of a compressive effect on it. Now that's extreme as shit, but there's some magic in that. Anyway, last thing I want to say is thank you for joining me on You Gonna Learn Something Today, for learning EQ with me. I hope it finds you well. And I think I'm going to make this a weekly thing. So next week we're going to tackle compression. We're going to work on this same track with our same EQ plugins. We're going to work up, and we're gonna get this mix sounding amazing. So stay tuned for that. Geo Gets a Beat back on tomorrow. Yeah, anyway, peace and love. Thank you.